For this next section, we will be covering different equations on the line, okay? So let's talk prereqs, okay? Some prereqs are, I need you guys to know how to graph equations of a line, or just graphing lines in general. I need you guys to be real comfortable with finding slopes and working with slopes. And actually, yeah, that's it. All right, so let's talk about the three forms of a line. So what we've already covered in a previous lecture is the standard form. We'll do that in a pretty color. Let's do that in pink. So this is called standard form of a line, right? Oh, and I suppose, actually, yeah, standard form of a line, and your line will be of some form ax plus by is equal to c, where a, b, and c are real numbers. Okay. Now, there are two other forms that should be familiar to you, but if not, it's okay. The next one should be slope, intercept form. The slope intercept form is going to look like y is equal to, good color, mx plus b, where your m is your slope and your b is your y-intercept, hence slope-intercept form, yeah? And we'll get into like the fun, interesting details of this in a bit. Okay. We'll get into the details of how these things work in a bit. And the last form you should be very familiar with is point slope form. Point slope form is going to be y is equal, or sorry, try that again. Should be parentheses, you don't need it, but I like it. Y minus y1 is equal to m, your slope, x minus x1. Okay? Where, well, you know, m is your slope, and x1 comma y1 is a point on your line. Okay? So these are the three forms. They have different, I guess, pros and cons. Okay? Like we explored in a lecture, a couple lectures back, right? This form is nice because you can find the x and y intercepts pretty quickly. X-intercept is 1, y equals 0, so then you know that your x value is going to be x is equal to c over a, for example, right? And you can kind of calculate things pretty quickly. Slope-intercept is nice because you look at a graph, you know, you quickly figure out the slope. You can see the intercept, all your problems go away. This is the most common form people use. Point slope form is nice when you have a point and a slope and you don't feel like doing other work. But at the end of the day, these are all the same. For grade school purposes, I want you guys to turn each form into the other two. And I'll do an example. I'll do, in my opinion, what might be the hardest one. Okay? So, I'll show you guys how to go from point slope into, let's do standard. Okay. So point slope form looks like a point and a slope, right? So we're going to have y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. We want it into standard, so we want it to look like ax plus by is equal to c. Okay. Let's see. The first thing is I'm going to want to distribute this because this form doesn't have any ends. Okay. So this is going to give me y minus y1. And remember, y is a variable, y1 is some number. Okay. Is equal to, we distribute the m is a number, mx minus x1. Right. So the first thing we'll make note of is this is a number, this is a number, and this is a coefficient multiplied to x, which is a variable. X is a variable, right? Okay, this form has numbers on one side and variables with maybe with coefficients on the other, okay? So I'm going to push all the numbers to one side. So I'm going to get y is equal to mx minus x1 plus y1. Okay, now, if you notice, all your variables are on the left-hand side, okay? Of course, if you have like all the variables on the right and all the numbers on the left, that's fine too. Yeah, right, because ax plus by equals c is the same as saying c is equal to ax plus by, right? I'm going to push this piece this way, and I'm going to get negative mx plus y is equal to negative x1 plus y1. And we're done. Why are we done? Well, if we identify our pieces, right, you're going to find that, oh look, a is equal to negative m, right? Because that's the number being multiplied in front of x, yeah? You're going to find that b is going to be positive 1, invisible coefficient in front of y. And most interestingly, the hardest part for most students is c is equal to negative x sub 1 plus y sub 1, okay? This is not a formula I expect you to memorize, but this is a process I expect you to understand, okay? So, first conceptual question is turn each of these forms, here, here, and here, into the others, okay? So you should be able to go from standard to point slope back to standard, so on and so forth, okay? Okay, now in terms of exercise problems, actually, let me just, okay. Now in terms of exercise problems, again, to be submitted to GradeScope, let's do the following, okay? On page 52, so this is chapter 2.3's exercise problems, I want you guys to do numbers 7 through 9 and graph them, because this will exercise your, well, ability to determine the slope and the y-intercept, as well as your ability to graph off of point slope. Again, graphing off of point slope is a lot faster in my opinion. That's just me. And I also want you to find the x-intercept as well. All right. And then I want you guys to do number 16, and I want you to turn this into a graph. I want you to have it in point slope. Actually, I don't want it in point slope, I lied. I want it in slope intercept. And I also want the x-intercept. Okay? I also want you guys to do numbers 19 to 24. It sounds like a lot, it's not. These problems are just matching the equation with the correct graph. So these are your equations, and these are the graphs you get to match them to. Not a lot of calculations to do. I want you guys to do number 25 and These problems should be pretty okay. Yeah. Oh, I guess one note for this is assume A, B, and C are not equal to 0. Okay, because when things equal to 0, it can get a little funky. Alright, yeah, that's it actually. Yeah. Oh, actually, I lied. I also want, as a conceptual question, what is the slope, intercept, and standard form of a horizontal line? Okay, so imagine some horizontal line and you don't know what its x value is, right? Call it A or something like that, right? What is the slope, intercept, and standard form of it?